Hi, this is Edward Troxel, and today we're going to go back and look at OFX parameters and specifically look at the push button parameter. We really haven't talked a lot about the push button parameter itself, as we usually just ignore the push button because there is no value to it and you cannot set a value to it. So let's take a look at what the push button actually does and how we can access it. When going through the parameters, I typically use this line right here to ignore the parts that I do not want to look at. So as long as the parameter name is not presets, and as long as the label is not preset, because I don't need to look at the preset item, as long as the parameter type is not page, as long as the parameter type is not group, because I can't do anything with a page or a group either, and then I have on here, and as long as the parameter type is not a push button, because there's really nothing I can do with a push button other than push it. And there may be times when you do want to push it, but you can't get the value from it and you can't set a value to it, so I just typically ignore push buttons as well. So let's look at this in Vegas. So here in Vegas, I've added a clip to the timeline, so I have one video event and one audio event on the timeline, so you can see those here. And on the video event, I've added the Vegas brightness and contrast, so I could go through and set any of these values however I wanted to set them. Right now we're going to leave them on the default, and then we're going to push this calculate brightness and contrast button. So what happens when we push that is it brings up this little box. It goes through that clip and automatically sets the brightness and contrast based on what it sees there. So you can see the values were changed here. Let's reset these back to the default values, and so we now have these back to 0.5. And let's see how we can actually push this button from the script. So in this case, we're going through every track on the timeline, and then we're going to go through every event on the timeline. Then if the event is selected and it is a video, then I'm going to convert that to a video event. Then for each effect on that video event, I am checking to see if the plugin is an OFX plugin. If it is an OFX plugin, then I'm going to change it to an OFX effect by getting the effect.ofx effect. Then we're going to go through each OFX parameter, which I'm calling OFX Parm, in OFX.parameters. Now this time we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to actually look for the push button. So if the OFX Parm.parameter type toString equals push button, then what I'm going to do is take that parameter and I'm going to say parameter changed. Now this is a routine you call, so you got to have the two parentheses there. So we're going to call parameter changed, and that should push the button for us. So let's give this a try. First of all, make sure that is selected. Go to Tools, Scripting, Run Script, and we'll call our script. And you'll notice it pushed the button as it brought up this dialog box. And these values once again changed to the same values they had been set to previously when we pushed the button manually. So as you can see, we can access the push button, but the only thing we can actually do is push it. And to push it, we call the parameter changed command. And that will let us push any button that we find on any of these effects. So if you are using some other effect that has a push button and you need to push it, just call the parameter changed and that'll get the job done for you. Let me know what you'd like to see in future tutorials. Sign up and leave me some comments of what you like, what you don't like, and let me know what you want to see so we can get more tutorials out to you in the future. See you next time. Please sign up at www.JETDV.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.